kind of go through everything for a reason. So you went to the first school to learn whatever you did learn, but now just don't find yourself feeling guilty for moving on if that's not what you thought it was going to be.
Okay. Yeah, and that's true. But I also noticed that we have two students that at a PWI. We have Northern Kentucky University in Western Kentucky, and that's a predominantly white institution. And then we have two students on here that are at HBCUs, of Bowie State University in Simmons. So what did you all do to make, like, how did you all decide on which college is best for you to attend, HBCU versus PWI? Can everyone kind of chime in and let me know?
I can touch on that a little bit. I think my first instinct is honestly the money, if I'm being honest. Financially, HBCUs don't always give the best financial packages for students. And it can be really hard for you to be in a space where you are getting the education you want and getting the knowledge you want, but you're struggling to make ends meet in certain aspects. I can't speak on it, but I can speak from a PWI spectrum. It's just different, and the money package it's just financially you're a lot more comfortable in your dorm. You're a lot more comfortable. The spacing, I feel like there's just more things that you're comfortable with when you go to a PWI in terms of the financial packaging.
So, Paulette, what made you decide to choose to go to Simmons, which is a HBCU? Because I know you had talked about you have attended at PWI before.
Yes. And my motivation for going to HBCU basically was that Louisville had an HBCU. And it just so happens that my pastor is the president. And so with that being said, yes. And for me, going to college and being able to go full time, I always wanted to experience the college. I wanted to experience the college life, that experience. And so the financial, at that time and still, Simmons is about students graduating with no debt. And so with me being a non-traditional student, I have debt, I have bills, mortgage. And so that was very, very, very attractive to me. It gave me an opportunity to further my education and not have to worry about taking out additional loans, which I already have loans. And the difference for me, the HBCU is very nurturing to the Black plight. I mean, one of the first things that I recognized when I walked through the doors is that the young men opened the door. They were very respectful. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of us to be a Simmons student, and just what it produces and brings to the entire community. But for me, as far as the difference from PWI, the difference was Simmons was more conducive to my needs personally. Everything, the curriculum is based on my plight, just everything about me. So it made sense to me. I could apply. It was practical application throughout the whole process. And I know it's a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm older, and I've experienced life. But as far as it being the transition portion, the PWI was that was normal to me because I was in predominantly white institutions from first grade on. So that was just a normal transition. The difference was to go to a HBCU and be received and to be welcomed and just nurtured. Just the nurturing portion is just phenomenal.
Would anyone else like to provide some information as to how they made their decision between PWI and HBCU? All right. So we have Danielle. Danielle, tell us about freshman year. Tell us all about freshman year. How you prepare and what is freshman year like?
Freshman year can be a lot of things. It can be scary. It can be very scary and nerve-wracking, you know, when you're first walking through those collegiate doors and you don't know exactly what's gonna happen, where is this journey going to lead to when you first start. You know, it's all about taking one step at a time and just putting one foot in front of the other when you first get into the collegiate world. I would say, you know, one of the things that we were gonna talk about was just like getting involved on campus. I would say in order to get involved, I would take it slow because you're not in a rush or you're not like in competition with anybody but yourself in terms of getting involved and being active on campus. You should just kind of dip your toe in things, like just try to see like what makes you comfortable and what you want to do in order to feel like you belong on your campus, what you want to do in order to feel like you have a home away from home. I know that we talked about having a home away from home and not, you know, being homesick. That was another topic because you can get homesick while you're away from school. Currently, I don't feel very well at the moment. I'm not homesick, but I am not feeling very well. So I just wanted to point that out. But, you know, speaking of being homesick, you can just help yourself by just knowing that your journey is helping you to be a better person. I think that that's something to keep in mind. Like when you're away from your family and your friends, or just from where you started out, wherever your home is, you know, being in a new space and being in college, it can be a little nerve-wracking. So just taking it easy on yourself, being kind to yourself, and knowing that things get better every single day. I think that that's nice. You have to be gentle with yourself. Another thing I encourage everyone to do while they're away from home or while they're at school is to find a church home. It took me a while to find a church home and to find where I wanted to be, but I have one now. It's called Light of the World, and it's really an amazing church. They have this thing called Watch Care, and they watch over their college students just to see how you're doing while you're away from home. And if you need a hot meal, they'll give you one. If you need some clothes, they'll give you clothes. If you need money, they'll help you out. And I've experienced that firsthand. So I'm just grateful for that. And yeah, freshman year can be a lot. It's not easy. It's simple in terms of what you have to do to get things done, but it's not easy. And it can be rough on just about anyone. So I think just being gentle, that was the other thing I said, being gentle with yourself is really important as well.
All right. Thank you, Danielle. So we do have some questions and you all can chime in to answer these questions that we have. But one of the questions we have is, how long does it take to hear back from a college once you apply to determine if you were accepted or if you were not accepted?
I wouldn't say that I have an estimate answer for how long it takes to hear back, but I would say be patient with the process.
Mhm.
I know it's very nerve wracking, especially because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to start a new life, home, away from home. Like, I need to know where I'm going, and the stress of your friends have found out 2 weeks from the college you applied to. Like, why did she already know that she's accepted? Why don't I must have not gotten accepted because they didn't get back with me that fast. But I would just say, be as patient as you can with the process because it does take time. And like Danielle said, you're your own student. Everybody's themselves, and maybe they applied 2 days before you. Of course, you don't have an estimate. Maybe we all applied around the same time, but you won't hear back as early or as late as your best friend or someone you heard talking about it down the hall. So don't stress about it until you do hear an answer. I would say don't anticipate the answer until you get it. Like, don't think I didn't hear back. Okay, that means I'm not accepted or um, anything like that. Just patience during this time is probably key.
Okay, great. So I have another question. Are there any suggestions on the best place to look for scholarships?
I would.
You
go
can
ahead.
go, Reagan. Reagan, go ahead.
Okay. I would say check with your school's like counselor. I went to Atherton, so I had I was in a group called Phenomenal Women with Miss Marables, and she was a really good resource for scholarships locally. And also check with your church. I did a scholarship with St. Stephen's, and there are a lot of opportunities for scholarships at your school, like once you find out if you get into your school as well. So check with your counselors, look on the school's website. If it's not on the school's website, I would call admissions, or I would call financial aid. Usually kind of tends to work with scholarships, and reach out to them and see what opportunities they have.
Yes, I would suggest there are websites. I've just simply keyed in scholarships and gotten turned on to different websites and things of that nature. Simmons regularly has updates with different scholarships that are available.
Okay. One more question, because I know that some colleges are not accepting test scores. So are there any other options that you can send to your college, or are there any other options of things that they accept since they're not accepting test scores? Does anyone know?
A lot of schools will accept writing samples just to see how you're doing, like with your reading and writing skills, or they might have you take a different type of quiz. Like it might not be the ACT or something specific, but something smaller, like a smaller version to see and test your skills in different areas. So that might be something that happens.
Hey, we have a couple of other guests on here with us. Do anyone have any questions before we wrap up?
I didn't have a question, but I did have another, just something to say about, I believe Danielle was talking about just coming into school and as a freshman, like what to expect. I know it's really easy to get sidetracked because you're like, oh, I don't have my mom and my dad to tell me to get up and go to school. Even if you kind of shied away from that, you find that during this time is when you'll find yourself the most, or you're at least trying to figure out who you want to be. Just be very patient with yourself with that as well. You see other people come in and they may look like they have it all down and they've got everything together, but just like you, everyone is trying to figure out what they're trying to do. We've all come to college, maybe not for the same reason, but we're all here. So just finding a similarity in that, but just being patient with your brain developing and you branching out and figuring out who you are. And then another thing was, don't overload yourself with trying to be seen on campus so much that you join every org out there just because it's there. I think maybe find one thing that you really are interested in, and as with the first year, I would say take your time with one or two organizations or things to do on campus just to get your face out there, but not too much because you want to be freshman of the year or I want to be seen on campus so bad.
And to add on to that, you also want to like be open-minded about different opportunities that schools may have to offer for you. Because I know there were a lot of things at my old school that I was like kind of hesitant of like, I don't know if I'd like that. Like, am I gonna like meet anybody? Like, are they gonna be fun? But I would definitely say try as many things as you can within reason. Of course, like take your time, be open-minded, and practice time management. That was the number one thing for me that I was more focused on with school and being in sports and extracurricular. So definitely practice time management, even if you don't end up playing a sport or joining any clubs. It's important to create like a system for you to like complete your homework and then also enjoy like a social life as well. That's very important. Make sure that you're open-minded with the people you meet as well, so you can find your tribe.
Great. Thank you, ladies, so much for your time and you pouring out this great information to pass along for others to be able to come back and listen, because this was some great information. But before we close, I would like to know what's next. What plans? I know we have some seniors and we have some juniors and also sophomores. So what is next? What is your future plans? Paulette?
Now, for me, I'm excited to have found a master's program that I'm interested in. I'm graduating with cross-cultural communications from Simmons, and University of Louisville has a public health with a concentration in social science. That's very, very interesting to me. This would put me in position to be kind of like a community advocate on multiple levels, such as health, finance, education, just different aspects. So I will be able to help communities, reach certain goals. So that's what's next.
Danielle, what's next?
Grad school is next as well for myself. So I'm going to be going to get a master's degree in communications. I'm still trying to make a decision on where, but I'll announce it hopefully sometime this summer. But grad school is next, so I'm excited.
And Mason, what about you? What's next?
Will be taking a summer class, my last chem course before I apply for my nursing program. But I find out in late September if I've been accepted or not. So I'll be applying for the nursing program soon. I minor in sign language, so after that, I'll want to do some type of nursing with maybe deaf children or I don't know. I want to be a pediatric nurse for sure, though. But that's the next step.
All right, great. I think we lost Reagan, but I'll let her know that that we were finishing up. I think she said she's going to try to log back on. So if she's able to log back on, she can let us know what's next. But I definitely, again, the women's ministry, we are so proud of you all, and we are so thankful and appreciate the time that you all took to present this great information. Okay.
Thank you for the invite.
Oh, of course. And it's like I said before we started, tomorrow is Women's Day. So tune in, ladies, since you all are away, tune in, check out the service. And again, we appreciate and we are so glad that you all are still St. Stephen. Okay. Yes. All right. Well, okay. Well, thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.